And we're coming up on Wigierska Street. Wigierska Street was a site up here at 16 Wigierska Street to the Judenrat, which is the Jewish police, the Jewish headquarters. 16, this is 18, this white building here. So 16, very different looking now than it was back then, but this is where in October of 1942 many of the folks were detained here for a work detail. They were very fearful and they were frantic and they were worried that they were going to be something bad was going to happen to them. So they were pushing along the first floor and everything else. They were overcrowded. They pushed around the first floor windows. They broke some of the windows and they were told to go home, get their belongings and come back in an hour. So some of the folks thought, okay, this is my chance never to come back. But those who followed the actual rules were sent to Belzec, so they were deported. So this is where they enter, but most of the folks were kept in this courtyard back behind the building. So you can't quite see it, but the courtyard's back there. So they were let to go home, and those who came back with their belongings were then deported. So don't trust anybody, right? So we're going to make a turn here on the end of this block, and we're going to go out to the other side. We've gone across lengthwise from left to right of the ghetto almost, so we'll go to the other side of the ghetto, which is the other main gate. So next to the main gate is a Judenrat office, another Judenrat office, the earlier one, and of course next to the main gate would be a German headquarters, which is a German police station again, so we'll go back by those. And then through the main gate was the tram line. There's a tram line still today that runs through this area. The tram wouldn't stop here, it just would go through from the Aryan side to the other Aryan side, and we run through the ghetto and not stop at the ghetto. So the people who are in Krakow could see what was happening, what life was like in the ghetto, but they couldn't get out, and it was like watching a movie. They went by in the tram, pretty much. A really a bad movie. So this in the corner up here on the left was the building where they had the Judenrat, the first Judenrat, up to June of 42 before the first deportation. It was a site of a lot of organizing work details, maintaining order, getting trash collected, a site of collaboration and a site of resistance, both. So, and right here, just beyond this building, was where the main gate was, the ghetto main gate between 1 and 15 Podgorski Street. There was a matzva shaped top inscribed in Yiddish. There's Zirk, Jewish residential quarter. Terrible pronunciation. Like I said, a tram ran through here, made no stops. The SS guarded the outside of the gate, and the inside of the gate, the Jewish police guarded it. Right here is the Judenrat building. So the inside of the ghetto was taken care of by the Judenrat, the outside by the SS. Just up the street over here was the German police station, the former town hall. So if you want to get into the ghetto from the Aryan side, you had to get a pass. And up here at the police station, you can get a pass. Up here at the very end, on the corner up here. Oh, nobody hit me. All right, I'm not going to get hit. All right. Dangerous walking when you're doing this. So up here is the police station. All right. Again, this was the outskirts. We're now outside the ghetto. This was the wall going all along here, and the gate, and then the wall and the fence over to the other side of it. So I'm out of the ghetto now, but in the ghetto, I told you before about Schindler's factory being outside the ghetto and other factories, but there were actually factories that were in the ghetto as well. And the Maastricht factory, which is up here in the ghetto, the employed Jews, owned by a non-Jew. It was a tailoring factory. Up the block here on Podgorski Street. This is at 3 Podgorski Square. There's the Madster's factory. Jewish workers. The Jewish workers could had better work conditions, had more food rations. During deportations, the factory issued more work passes. It was a center of smuggling. They entered through the courtyard on the other block. But this was not the employee entrance. This was the entrance for the administration and staff. You know, this side of it, which was the other side of the ghetto, which is there was no wall here, but this was the outside. This was all boarded up. These windows were boarded up, so they couldn't exit that way because this was outside the ghetto. But this building is in the ghetto, and this was the headquarters of the Madstrich tailoring factory. So the owner of Julius Madstrich, who owned this, was approved of what was going on, I guess. He didn't openly say much because he couldn't, obviously, but he didn't stop the smuggling, didn't stop the issuing of many passes. But this is now a residential area, but in here, this was the factory. This is the area where it was. So he would enter the block behind us here on the other street. Very interesting. Just up the way up here is clearly, you can tell this is not the ghetto, right? Because what do we have here outside the ghetto? We have a massive Catholic church. So this is the outskirts. Along here, I'm walking outside the ghetto, but these buildings were inside the ghetto back in the time. I'm just gonna walk one more here, and then I'll take a short break. But again, these buildings were the ghetto. And just outside of it, an enormous Catholic church with Pope John Paul II obviously up there. And other famous Catholics. Again, you can see the outskirts of the ghetto being lined by a Catholic church. Oh, yeah. This is Parkova and Rakowska. This is the corner of Parkova and Rakowska. This is again the outside of the ghetto. This street is not in the ghetto, and these buildings were in the ghetto. So this building right here is the site where Roman Polanski lived here. Roman Polanski lived here until the reduction of Ghetto A and Ghetto B. So at this corner was one of the few places, a couple places that Roman Polanski lived while he was a Jew in the ghetto during World War II. Roman Polanski, a famous director, controversial director. He also was the director of the film The Pianist, about the Warsaw Ghetto. All right, short break.